Last time I spoke with you, you were feeling very positive about the patch. Are you still feeling that positivity, or did you find something that's causing you to question again?
So I was on the X39 originally for about 4 months, and I told you my ankle within a week, a 14-month-old injury, which was worsening. Within a week, just the pain went. It was the case that the first 3 steps I would take out of bed in the morning, I would hobble, and that disappeared. Now, I'm a skeptic by nature, as you know, so I just couldn't believe that that could be the patch, although I didn't have any alternative, because I'd been feeling that pain every day for well over a year. So I did 4 months on the patch, and then I got to a place where financially things were a bit interesting. I had to divert some funds to something. And so I thought, can I keep doing this? Essentially ended up taking like a month off the patch. During that 4 months as well, my knee, so I've got a degenerative meniscal tear, did seem to be improving. I would say the pain was down like 20 to 30%. So normally I would not be able to sit like this with my knee crossed over because of the force going through the knee. Because I read every morning, you know that, you've seen me in the cafe in London. And I started to be able to do that again. So anyway, so I took a month off and then went back on what's called the Y-Age, which a friend of mine kind of sponsored me to do this 3-month healing protocol with 3 particular patches, which is the Eon, Carnosine and Glutathione, that you place on the knee in a special formation, as well as taking some nutraceuticals. And within a week of doing that, so at this point I was now taking my month's break off the X39 after the 4 months I'd done. So within a week of doing the Y3, my pain in my knee, which was still there, but less, was gone.
Right.
Okay, so again, the skeptic in me said, well, could this just be, I don't know, a good patch or something, or I don't know, I'd never had a good patch before. But then because this person was so kind to me and sponsoring me essentially for 3 months of this Y3, I thought, hang on a second, am I really meant to be on the X39, which Lifewave say boosts your peptide or peptides and potentially can help the body elevate its stem cell production? Should I really be on the X39 and this Y3? If that's the case, then I really need to honor this investment in me and purchase X39 to make the most of this opportunity. So then I went back on the X39, and that's where I'm at now. I've been on it for 2.5 weeks, but I had stopped taking the Y3 about a month ago because I wanted to wait to get back on the X39, give it a couple of weeks to get everything in the body, whatever it's doing in the body, to get back up to a healthy level, and then bring in the Y3, which I'm probably going to start doing maybe tomorrow. So the answer to your question is, yes, my ankle got better within the first 4 months of using the X39, within the first week. I can't explain that other than this quirky patch. And my knee improved, I would say, lessened in pain 20 to 30%. By the end of the 4-month block, I'd say it was minus 30%. Then I took a break, did the Y3. Within a week of the Y3, no longer on the X39, the pain had gone, like it was dramatic. I did a video on that. And now I'm stopped the Y3 and I'm back on the X39 2 weeks in. So 4 months, a month break, 2 weeks on the X39. And my knee feels, honestly, like today, it's been a bit twingy. And so I'm not sure what that is, but I have had days where I've had no pain at all. So I would be being untruthful to you if I said, oh, every day it's just wonderful. No, that's not the case. I have days where I would still say it's less than it was 6 months ago, the pain, but it's not miraculously healed. So I'm really looking forward to doing the Y3 for 2.5 months, which is what I have, enough product for that, with the X39 and the nutraceuticals, which I've done videos on my channel, Patch or Placebo, on YouTube. Yeah, so that's my experience. And I'll say as well, it was a conversation with you where you were telling me about looking through a bus window in our London buses, and you saw a light field, I guess distortion in the perspex. The windows on those London buses have to be kind of like vandalism proof. And you said that you saw a field of light, like yellow, blue or whatever, around the figures who were walking on the street, humans. And I said, oh, by the way, that made me think, there are these patches which are really helping my knee and ankle. And it was told to me the way that these work is that the body's emitting light all the time, and these patches trap the light and reflect it back in at a certain frequency. And this actually affects the body. And the first block mentally I had was, how is the body emitting light? But then we discussed the spectrum of light is this big, and the human eye can see this part of it. And I looked it up, and yes, the body is emitting light, photons and waves. We spoke. We don't need to get into it now, but it was an interesting chat. But yeah, brother, do you have any more questions for me? Otherwise, we'll get into your experience, because
it's very much an introductory experience for me too. And your approach has been strategize around skepticism, create some criteria and some controls so that you understand exactly what the difference between biases you have because of how you've been introduced to it, and the hope of obviously being pain-free is a big part of how placebos work. But there is also this evidence. There's empirical evidence that connects with how our bodies work. And so while that intrigues me greatly, I want to be having conversations with people where they have an opportunity to see what is true and what isn't.
So you messaged me about a week ago, and you had, when we spoke, it was because you mentioned that you had pain in your foot and or ankle, and also asthma. And I told you how I seemingly had a positive result from these patches, and maybe they could help you too. And so you messaged me maybe after a week of using the X39 regarding your ankle or foot.
Yeah.
Can you share a bit about that?
So I feel like I've been on it for about 10 days. I had this ankle that I rolled last summer, and I thought it was going to be an 8-week period of rehab. But after the first 3 days, having rolled the ankle, I had to crawl, and even crawling was difficult because of course your foot's dragging on the floor, and the throbbing and the swelling, it took 10 weeks for the swelling to go down noticeably. And the swelling stuck around for a good 6 months. You could see the difference. And I still had noticeable pain. It's not just pain, but it's functionality. I do a lot of single leg exercises at the gym. I'm cutting left and right on a single leg. I'm jumping, 30 centimeters on a single leg and then landing on a single leg. And the landing and the jumping have always been the most problematic, but noticeably the landing in ankle stability and knee stability. After using the patch for a day, I